All right, I'd like to call the special meeting agenda for the Village of Weston Board of Trustees for Monday, September 22nd, 2025 to order. Pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
States of America,
which
which
stands
stands
one
one
nation,
nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call, please.
Maloney,
Yes.
Onan,
Here.
Kern,
Here.
Ermeling, excused,
Excused.
Will Sorrell,
Here.
Jordan,
Excused as well.
Zagami,
Here. All right, public comments. Looks like I have one from Jim Pincinot. Name and address for the record, please.
Jim Hudson, 502 Street, Weston. Thank you for the opportunity to address the board this evening. With the chair being absent, I don't know if the vice chair will decide to silence me again and embarrass himself publicly. Let's hope we can all just do our jobs and listen to those who have elected you. You may not like hearing negative feedback or opposition to your actions, but it is appropriate as an elected official to see things from the lens of those who you are representing, even if it's just for 3 minutes. Tonight, the fire fee comes back as old business. I appreciate the preliminary attempt to start populating the old business category of the agenda, with things which have not yet been completed. I would encourage this board to expand on this practice. Back to the fire tax. The town of Ottawa is located in southeastern Wisconsin, has a population of 3,655 for the last census. The town of Ottawa is served by the only other fire department I found in Wisconsin, which operates via a fire fee. For a resident with a single family home in Ottawa, the cost of their fire tax per the town of Ottawa website's example is $602.50. But Jim, that example parcel has 5 acres. While you will be correct, each acre over 1 acre is only billed at $1 per acre. So on your half-acre lot in Ottawa, using the same exact formula, your single family home, you would pay $598.50. I see no way in which the proposed $50 tax to each home in the village is even remotely realistic. While our department is highly efficient, I do not see them being more than 10 times more efficient than a similar department in Wisconsin. It is now more than 7 months after February, where the board took action to explore a fire fee. I see not a single updated calculation or current solid dollar amount presented here in the packet tonight. How can you have approved language from the village attorney to implement a perpetual tax on every single parcel in the village of Weston and take action on it tonight without knowing the real and actual impact on each taxpayer? This is a perfect example of how kicking the can, coupled with no accountability or attention to detail, gets the hardworking citizens of Weston involved in this mess. Please revisit your spending habits and prioritize by providing public safety to the residents of Weston. Stop vilifying the fire department. It is not their fault that all the money was spent and not enough was allocated for them. You will approve staff raises tonight without batting an eye, without even questioning the additional $118,000 for a second. Meanwhile, the brave men and women who willfully put their lives on the line and rush into burning buildings, they're being made out to be the bad guy. Figure out a way to fund the fire department without a fire tax and get a real understanding of where all this money went. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, public comments. Any other public comments? Anybody online have their hand up? Okay. Moving on, minutes from previous meetings. Approval of September 9th, 2025 board budget workshop.
Move to approve.
So we have a motion by Zagami, Motion by Zagami, seconded by Maloney. On the question. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Unfinished business, we have none. New business, item number 5, review and discussion of 2026 budget.
So tonight we're going to talk about utilities, and we're going to continue with the general fund and kind of talk about where we're at with the general fund. So I think this is a great picture, Michael. We'll throw it over to you first and you can talk about utility funds.
Yes. so I guess the Village of Weston, we have our three designated utility funds, which are our water fund, our drinking water, our sanitary sewer, and our stormwater utility. They're all three separate from the village tax levy. They have their own revenues via the utility bill and are kind of self-funded in that way. So our Fund 60 is the water utility. So responsibility of that is to provide safe drinking water for consumption to our customers, as well as water capacity for firefighting purposes. The utility has 8 wells, 1 water treatment facility, 3 elevated towers, 1 underground reservoir, and approximately 114 miles of water main. So last water rate increase was in 2023. So 2024, 2025, net incomes, the projected estimate here is in the positive. To date, we've received several of our PFAS settlement payments, which attributes to a fair amount of that, I guess, 800,000. The other revenue, yeah.
This year.
And I guess just kind of for comparison's sakes, kind of look at our neighboring communities. Our rate in central Wisconsin is one of the lowest based on a 12,000 gallon bill. 12,000 gallons generally an average bill for a single family in the municipality. So just kind of more of an FYI of, you know, as people talk about their water rates, I think we do provide pretty good value there. Second one then is Fund 61, which is the sanitary sewer. We don't have our own treatment facility, but we are responsible for conveying that wastewater to the regional wastewater treatment plants, which probably 85–90% of our wastewater goes to the Rib Mountain Metro Sewerage District. And then the other small percentage travels to the city of Wausau through the city of Schofield. So we have 13 sewer pump stations, 103 miles of main, a little over 2,000 manholes. So as we go through the system, that's just kind of a snapshot of some of the things we maintain through there. You know, you'll notice on the expenses, the Rib Mountain Metro debt service and Rib Mountain Metro O&M are some of the more prominent expenses we have, which is the treatment of that wastewater as it flows to that facility. Last year, we did implement a rate increase. It looks like we might still be coming up just a little shy this year on it. Rib Mountain Metro was kind of going through their budgeting too. Was kind of hoping they'd indicated initially that there was a chance they would start bringing down their costs a little bit due to they have a current facility upgrade going on and they needed some initial capital to get that project going. But it looks like they're probably staying steady for 2026 as well here. So they're not necessarily increasing, but they're not looking to decrease their rates anytime soon either.
So Michael, even with the rate increase, we're short?
We're still short.
How much?
Well, right now, year to date, we're about 75,000.
So make sure you look at the before capital contributions. So we're looking.
So we're
at
90,000.
Yep, 90,000.
So is Metro gonna decrease it to help out with that 75,000 or 90,000?
No, so that'd be up to us to have another rate increase. I know.
How much did we increase?
Roughly 20%. So we did, I forget what it was on the base, and then we did a use charge too. So we did more on the use and less on the base. I should have that open right now, but so for the average person, I think we did that based on a 12,000 gallon bill too. It would have been say a 20% increase, but if you used more wastewater, you got billed more because that's really where the large increase was coming from. Remote metros on our usage, more so than our base system.
That went through Public Works to board last year, didn't it?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. So if it would be something that we'd recommend again, we would,
Yeah, so we'll be reviewing that again just to make sure we're, you know,
How
if,
much that be, 10%?
5,
5%?
right? 100,000 of say 2 million.
Yeah. Okay,
So. Again, you know, sewer wise, you know, Rim Mountain is the other one that flows to the local sewage district. But like Cronewater, Schofield, or Cronewater, Rothschild, Mosinee also flow to Rim Mountain Metro. Besides us, they are some of the highest sewer use charges in the area. So I don't believe we would need to be that high. I guess that was kind of our hope was to increase our rate at what hopefully would have been close to a small break even or net income versus creating a large dollar amount. So again, we are one of the lower rates in the area. And then the last utility fund is the stormwater utility that was created in 2004. Main purpose was really for flood control back when it was created. And then for ensuring compliance with our requirements from the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. So right now we have phosphorus compliance regulations. So every year we have to report to the DNR what we're doing to help improve stormwater quality as it enters the Eau Claire River and I guess in general the Wisconsin River watershed. So
I thought there was some grant for FOSFA.
yeah, but our operating budget still requires us to, you know, maintain, so, you know, the utility itself, you know, general day-to-day operations is meant to ensure we're filling our compliance with, you know, inlet cleaning, detention basin cleaning, review of site plans, making sure that site erosion control inspections, post-construction inspections are being done. So, I mean, that's the difference between our capital budget and our operating budget. So the capital budget is the projects that we'd be implementing to further show compliance. And then our operating budget is what we still need to do throughout the year to follow that. And I guess there was comments made previously throughout the budget process about our rates. You know, like I said, the stormwater utility was created in 2004. Here in 2025, about 21 years later, we've gone up from $48 to $70 per year for an equivalent runoff unit. So every property in the Village of Weston, a single family home, is billed as one ERU, one equivalent runoff unit. Anything commercial, industrial, they're billed based on so an equivalent runoff unit is based on 3,338 square feet of impervious area. So any commercial building or warehouse that gets put in, we divide the impervious area, so that's rooftops, parking lots, by 3,338, and that gives us their equivalent runoff unit, which is how they're billed. So school districts, churches, and every improved lot in the village gets a stormwater bill. So that's what I had for utilities, unless anybody had questions.
likely we'll see that sewer piece back through Public Works.
Yeah.
I was gonna follow up on the utilities as Michael was talking through. The numbers you actually saw on the screen are solely operations. Like when we talk about the new stormwater pond and all the well work and all the main replacements, that's all gonna be on the balance sheet. The balance sheet is not budgeted for. So when we built the new well, we never budgeted for that. That was part of our capital plan, and it doesn't go through the budget process. The funding of that would get approved through a bond issuance, and the board needs to vote on that. So that's how those projects get funded. In here, each utility has depreciation.
Yeah, if you go
So
back a few pages.
we're looking at the funds. The depreciation is based on, like for the water utility, it's based off the PSC requirements. The water utility is regulated by the Public Service Commission. of Wisconsin. So any rate increases that we want for Fund 60, we need to ask the state for permission before we're to implement anything. Fund 61 and 63, those are both controlled by the board. So the board can increase those as they see fit to make sure that the operations are fully funded. When you look at all three utilities, you'll see capital contributions for the accounting standards that we follow. Any contributed plants. So in Hare Springs, when Denyon was putting in water main, sewer main, and storm water, those he put in, they paid for, and then they gave to the village. So those are called capital contributions. I work with Michael and we put a value on those assets every year. And then as they get older, we depreciate those assets. So just wanted to run a few things for the utilities. Those are the main things. If you have questions, let us know. But we do monitor our utilities, make sure they are funding themselves. And I think that's about it. Any additional questions on the utilities? Like
Yeah,
account
yeah.
wise that I can help with?
Yeah, well, I have a question for Michael, I think. With the new build in Rib Mountain, is that gonna increase their rates, Michael?
More than likely it will.
Okay, when will that building come online? Next year?
I don't know.
Okay, that's a awfully big build. And I just was wondering how that's gonna be handled. Okay, because they are one of the two communities that are lower rates than Weston.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean,
I know we gotta do similar things too with the PFAS and stuff, but I was just wondering if if that was calculated or not. Thank you. Good presentation.
Okay, moving on to the general fund, the village of Weston has one general fund as the fund that records the general operations of the village, the expenditures that don't belong in any other fund. It relies heavily on tax levy and intergovernmental revenues. Here's the revenues, a quick graph of the revenues. This has the 2025 budget and 2026 budget on there. As you can see, there's not much change in all of the funds. It's why that about 60% of our general fund is funded with tax levy. The next closest is intergovernmental revenues at 27%. So when we talk about, oh, let's raise our fees, our permits, and our licenses, to have a significant impact on our budget, we need to significantly raise them. As you can see, the fees and permits are only 3.8% of the total budget. So when we're talking about a couple dollar increases, it's not a significant help. It won't help fill the budget hole that we talk about a lot. One of the biggest non-tax intergovernmental revenues is our miscellaneous, our investment earnings. We're really lucky that interest rates have been so high for the last couple of years. Obviously, we've heard the negative news that they are going to be dropping, and they will be dropping even more by the end of the year. So that number, we've always budgeted really conservatively on that line. So when you look at the budget to actual, you'll see a large surplus on that line, but that is not a revenue stream that we can really rely on. So an interest income is $50,000 more than last year. I'm not gonna go and budget 50,000 more in that line, knowing that the following year, those interest rates are cut and I don't have another way to make up that interest income. So that's one of the things when you look at the next page. This is a snapshot of where we were from 2024 actual, and then the 25 budgeted and 26 proposed. We're looking at a 3.8% proposed budget increase. Major increases are coming in property taxes, 131,000, intergovernmental revenues, 119,000. I kind of identified what makes up that 119. It's an increase of 61,000 in shared revenue, 16,000 expenditure restraint, and 35,000 in transportation aid. Our transportation aid did actually increase more than 35,000, but we shifted some of that revenue increase over to Fund 42, which is our capital project streets funds. We shifted the matching expenditures also. One of the things we need to look for when we're adopting our budget for the general fund this year is making sure we still qualify for that expenditure restraint. As you can see, I'm budgeting a $16,000 increase. That total revenue we get from the state by following a few rules that they have is about 134,000. It's significant. If we do not follow those rules, we will not get that payment, and that is a big hole to fill if we need to come up with that additional revenue. Any questions on revenues?
The only other thing I'd mention with expenditure restraint is you have to have a mill rate over $5.
Yeah, and right now I'm a little concerned when we close our TIF. But thankfully we'll be having that levy increase, so not only are we gonna have to backfill some of our operational expenses that we'll be bringing back to the general fund, we may have to fill in that hole for the expenditure restraint. We can talk more about that in the next slide. So this is the levy limit. It's not the official levy limit worksheet, but it's our Excel spreadsheet that we use to imitate the levy limit worksheet. This is a form I need to fill out and submitting to the state to comply with the levy limit rules. First line up there, you can see we start with the prior year. We take out the person's property tax, and then we also adjust our levy for our prior year debt. And that will get to our adjusted levy of 5.7 million. And from that 5.7, we can increase our levy net new construction. So you can see the net new construction we have this year as 2.293, which would lead to an allowable levy increase of $131,000. And then they make us take out that 88,000 again. So we have our levy before debt service exemption. That is a levy that we get for operations. We split it between our aquatic center and our general fund. And then you going down a little bit more, you have the debt service exemption. So that line, Wisconsin municipalities are allowed to levy for the total amount of GO principal and GO interest that we have to pay for the next year. So for 2026. This is only the principal and interest that is paid from general operations, does not include principal and interest paid by the utilities. So we have $2.3 million, which is an increase of almost $200,000 from last year. So our current year allowable levy is 8.131. That's for operations and debt, and then we have the tax increment. So total levy that we will put on the tax bill is 9.5 million. You can see in the bottom, I have a little graph of how we've changed from last year. You can see the general fund went up 131, debt service 109.93, and our TIF went down $1.1 million. I talked about that before, how we have zero increment for Fund 26, and then we had a significant reduction in TIF 1. So what does that mean? That means that we're estimating a decrease of around 50 cents of the village mill rate. That's pretty significant. So we're estimating being down to $5.30. Our taxpayers, so last year we had a significant decrease also. We had like $1.22, but that was because of the reassessments. So even though we had a decrease, a lot of people still saw an increase on their tax bills. But this year, that 50 cents, most everyone's going to feel a significant tax relief with that.
So on a $100,000 home, I mean, what would you estimate that
I
the?
didn't do anything like that. That's only our portion. So what we have to do is wait to see what is the school district coming back with, and tech and everyone else. What are they gonna have? What are their levies? And I can give you a better picture of everything. That's just the village only.
Okay.
So we're looking at the expenditures. Here's the graph that we have. It's same as the revenues. It gives our 2025 budget compared to our 2026 budget. For general government, for 26, we decreased. Public safety increased. Public works is down. Culture and rec is about the same. Planning is about the same, and all other is about the same. You can get a more detailed look at our budget in the next graph. And this gives a trend from 2019 to the proposed 2026 budget. And then you have the average decreases on the right and the percent change from 2019 to 2026. And then the next slide gives you the significant changes by area. I have the numbers identified, so like for parks operations, they went up 25,000. We have additional health insurance in there, and I have the, so when we have health insurance is about $25,000. So when we had an employee transition, when we were planning for a new employee there, we increased our health insurance just in the budget, just to make sure that we're covered for any new employee that's coming in that may need family insurance. Another one, just a small decrease for the general committees with the combination of finance and HR. We've decreased the total expenditures for those committees, and that's just reflected there. Number 3, the clerk HR, it does have a decrease of $8,000. We adjusted one of the employees to this employee and spouse, which is a pretty significant savings. And then we reduced the budgeted health insurance for another employee because they're currently not taking it. So those right there were the majority of the changes that you saw in the clerk's department. Public works operations, you see a decrease of $65,000. When we go and look at the capital projects funds, you'll see a significant, not significant, but you'll see an increase in Fund 42. I did a preliminary moving some of the revenue and expenditures around in anticipation of staying under the threshold for the expenditure restraint program. I'm able to move the revenues and the expenditures over to Fund 42. Fund 42 can account for all the street work, and as long as I don't move any of the general fund levy over there, we'll be able to stay in compliance with that expenditure restraint program. Any specific other questions on here? I also moved $15,000 of the computer purchase. So my thought process when we were working through this budget here is how can I adjust this to make the fire increase balance? How can I get us to balance? So if you go to the next couple slides, I am presenting a balanced budget. I'm going to talk through some of the things that significant changes that helped budget balance. The significant change too is that applied fund balance going up $45,000, which is pretty significant. Last year we applied 105, so. Those are that's the budget that I have presented right now. We are still in preliminary. We do not have any health insurance numbers. I don't have the final number for SAFER. It's still being discussed at the board level there. I never got a final approved budget for Mountain Bay Metro. So these are preliminary numbers, not even close to finalized, but I was excited to get with the increases I received from the state and a little bit generous on the interest income with the way it was trending. I was a little, I was confident I was able to raise that interest income enough to help balance the budget, so.
Right now, we do have the placeholder for the 10% for health insurance. So if it, knock on wood, came in better than the 10%,
Right.
that would be excellent news.
Yeah, another significant change is I reduced their contingency and that large negative 42,286. We haven't used contingency for a few years. We've been able to absorb everything within budget savings. Like when we have, this year, we've had significant turnover. So when we had someone in the planning department leave, guess what? We don't have health insurance, we don't have wages. Those are savings that we are seeing. And that's when you look at the estimated expenditures, we're not where we budgeted, we are lower. And those vacancies are significant to us, even if they're in for a couple of months. But this year we've had a few more and the savings are pretty significant there.
I guess another piece of conversation is just that fund balance supply, that, you know, it is that $150,000 and we'd want to make sure that there's a comfort level that we're utilizing that fund balance.
So you have contingency 42,000 is negative, which means you don't have that money.
That's the difference.
It's a budget change.
That's the change. It went from the 58 to the 15. And the part of that 15, not sure what the 964 is, but the 15,000 would be the merit and market.
Yes, the
if approved.
50,000, the 900 is to make the balance.
Okay.
I have a question on that TIF, is not here, but we talked about it last time. Right now, when we do maintenance on the TIF area or snow plowing
No
or
snow plowing, just
snow plowing,
the maintenance of the roads, we
Mhm.
will charge to the tip this.
so people charge to it for those time and which is right to do it. Now we don't have the TIF. The tax we're gonna get from that TIF area, is that enough to cover those expense?
Yes. So every time we look at our allocation for administrative expenditures that we charge to the TIF, we always made sure there's a calculation you can do where you're confident that when we get to the amount of levy increase, will be enough to cover the administrative expenditures that are currently in TIF. So. Yeah, in 2026, I think by March of 2026, we can, that's the deadline for our TIF expenditures, so. Administrative expenses are allowed to continue to be charged to the TIF, so our wages still can be charged there, but other than that, we cannot have any additional TIF expenditures unless there has been a contract signed prior to the March deadline.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The other item, and I can pull up the slide from last time that we just wanted to continue the conversation about, was the refuge and recycling fee for next year.
I had it in the slide on my. Do you want me to share with you?
I can exit. Oh, is it in the finance draft?
I'll put it in there.
Okay.
Go get it.
But I thought we approved that.
We did not approve what a fee would be. We talked that it would be between 200 and 210.
So what we approved was what we paying to the landfill.
Yes, we approved the contract
That's
with the
what I was
landfill.
talking.
Yes.
And how much was that?
That's the tipping rate. I think it's a $39 tipping rate for the landfill per ton.
Okay. Are you waiting to pull it?
Yep, she's just gonna grab it and then put it in the file.
JMT.
We do have an audience member that has their hand up. I mean, public comment period is over, so I'm gonna leave it up to the board's discretion if they wanna
Budget.
entertain whatever comment is out here.
We move on with the meeting.
Okay. Is everybody else in agreement?
Sure.
Okay.
Just go to recycling.
One moment, we just gotta.
Nobody's gonna ask about the $325,000 for fire? We just let that one slide?
At
Does
this,
that fund the fire department?
at this point is preliminary. That's what was kind of discussed at the last fire district meeting.
Just looking for it in the presentation. It's got to be here someplace.
Oh, sorry.
So this won't be on our computer.
It won't be on the one that's on your computer. Nope, it'll just be up on the screen. So
Yeah.
this is shown with a fee of $205.50.
There's different approaches we can do, knowing that every year we're gonna have a CPI increase per the contract. So, and also per our contract, if diesel is at or above $4, is it, we'll have a fuel surcharge. So right now, it is proposed the way it is. Obviously, I was talking before that the curbside pickup, the yard waste handling, those are big numbers and they're the least reliable, hardest to budget. So we do our best with the budgeting every year. What's in those lines are the time that the guys have for the curbside pickup, both spring and fall. And for the yard waste, it's the time that our guys have at Ryan Street with the compost and stuff, correct? Yes. So with that, we also keep track of our equipment because with our recycling grant, we are able to charge equipment. So we use the DOT equipment rates and we take the hours that that equipment is used and we expense it to this fund. So those are the two that are pretty unknown. And right now, so with every guesstimate that we have up there, $205.50 will have a decrease in fund balance of $4,500.
And that would represent, because we're at 167 annually, that it would be a $38.50 increase for that special charge. And the special charge is, it's been the same for the 7 years of our prior agreement.
Which was like 160.
167.
Yeah.
So
okay.
we'd go from 167 to the 205.50, $38.50 increase. If you wanted to do the 205. Obviously, if you went slightly less, you're gonna use more fund balance. You can see you have about $152,000 of fund balance, but I finance, and the staff are presenting this, this is where we feel comfortable that those expenses could be covered.
So that $200-some gonna stay constant for 7 years.
No, we'll look at it annually, yeah. Because again, we'll have a CPI increase every year for the 7 years of the contract.
Mhm.
And then we also have the fuel escalator. So if that changes monthly, with the change in our contract, now we will get that fuel escalator if we go over the $4 on a monthly basis. Before it was done annually. So if we had a fuel escalator, then we had a fuel escalator for the entire year. Now that will be a quicker adjustment, but we also, that's what we're saying, we're taking estimates in this to bring it forward, but we will look at it annually to make sure that we are staying on track.
Okay.
We also don't wanna go too low and then next year have to make a big increase, right? We wanna stay consistent or incremental increases.
So here's an example, if I were to just put it at $2.05 or $205, we would have a $7,240 decrease. So because of the number of containers we have, just a small change is a significant impact on that excess or under expenditure line. And I can play around with it more if you feel you want to use more. Maybe our thought is, well, the budget's a little high, maybe we would be more comfortable with a larger decrease because we never get to our budget. I mean, but then on the other hand, I don't want to be coming to you next year saying we need $1 increase or $2 increase because costs have really, they're just not keeping track, so.
So if you keep it constant and make it easier on people, they're budgeting.
Okay. Is this something that has to be voted on tonight or?
It doesn't have to be voted on tonight, but we would ask for it to, you know, before we finalize the budget, that it would be voted on, so, because it'll be included as part of the tax bills.
Just a quick question, just a clarification. I've gotten a few phone calls over this. You know, thinking that this fee is a new fee. It's not a new fee because you were stating $167 for the last 7 years with waste management. So this 205 is with Harders, and some of the questions were, is it because we switched to Harders? No, we saved $300,000 by going with Harders versus waste management. And so if we would have went with waste management for the 7 years, it would have been more than this. So I just want to, it's a real simple explanation and it's kind of obvious, but I just want to make sure everyone understands that. Thank you.
All right, anything else on the refuse and recycling special charge fee? Anybody have any questions for staff?
Any recommendations to bring something else back next time we talk about this? Do you want to get closer to a $10,000 decrease or you want more? I mean, I'm fine, I'm comfortable, we have a fund balance. But that fund balance would go like that the minute we start using it. So we just want to kind of be kind of like where we're at. And if, say we get that fuel surcharge, that could start February for all we know. We want to make sure that we're collecting enough not to reduce our fund balance that much.
I'm fine with the calculations. Thank you.
Oh, that's fine.
Thanks, Mark.
I'm also fine with it. It would be kind of nice to see, okay, like if we did this number, this would be kind of like the lean number for us.
Okay.
So I
bring that
know
back.
what that difference is.
Sure.
But I think this was a good proposal.
Anybody else have any comments? Anything else from staff? Item number 5. Budget.
Nope, just unless there was any questions on the items presented tonight.
So our contract, we paid it, we were $350,000.
Hey, You come down
Lower,
here.
farther was
Hey, come on
350,000.
down.
Over
No,
the
come on.
course of the 7 years, plus Harders included the bulk item drop off.
Okay.
And waste management did not.
We paid per ton in there. I think it was $55 a ton, which is what we are charged now is $55 a ton.
Okay.
And I would just add, it's been interesting to see some of our neighboring communities that are also going through this process with Harders and waste management and seeing the decisions being made. And this isn't something that's just impacting us. It's impacting all of the communities in there.
Hey, Jim had his hand up. And Steve said, what does the rest of the board?
Not on
Oh.
mute.
All right, item number 6, discussion and or action on update to the 2026 village pay grid or pay plan.
So there was an RFC in the packet for all 3 of these items. These are all recommendations from the finance and HR committee. Again, the approval of the 3% increase to the pay grid pay plan does not increase annual compensation. It's just to keep our salary steady and when we when we would hire new staff and we're putting them within our pay grid to make sure that we're staying competitive. So, but the HR and finance did recommend a 3% to the pay grid pay plan.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Maloney. We have a second.
I'll second.
So we have a second by, I'm sorry, it's Lopes Sorrell, correct?
Sure.
I think this is, I'm sorry, this is the first meeting I've had to run since you've been here, so my apologies. So we have a motion by Maloney, seconded by Lopes Sorrell. Anything on the discussion? Anything on the discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? So carried. Item number 7, discussion and or action on 2026 staff compensation increases.
Motion to approve.
So we have a motion to approve by Maloney and a second by Zagami. Anything on the question? Anything on the question?
These are already approved by the HR committee, correct?
They also recommended a 3%,
All
yes.
right, thank
And
you.
a 3% is what, in all the budgeted numbers that you've seen, that's what is in there is a 3%.
Okay, thank you.
What was last year's CPI? Do we have that number?
We did a 3% last year also.
Okay,
Yes.
but I mean, isn't there there's like a market index for the country in general? Isn't there that?
Yep, so the last, I think, is 2.9 through August for this year. I would have to look to see where it was trending, but it was fairly similar for last year.
So we're right in line with that as well. Okay. Anything further on the discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Item number 8, discussion and or action on 2026 merit market reserve.
So finance and,
Go ahead, Mark.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Maloney.
I'll second, so we can get it on the table.
All right, second by Lopes Sorrell.
Discussion, please.
Discussion.
finance and HR also made a recommendation to set aside the 15,000. That's in the contingency amount that we just talked about as part of the general budget. All those merit and markets go through a form process with the department directors, and they're all brought back through to finance and HR and to board. So we set aside the 15, but you'll see those back. It's a closed session because that's a staff item, but you'll see those back on how that gets allocated.
And it's not always allocated. It's there as, but you gotta perform for it. It's gotta be above and beyond, and it goes through the committee and it goes through the administrator and the department heads, correct? Okay, good.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Anything further on the discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Old business, item number 9, discussion and or action on potential implementation of an annual fire fee, municipal attorney review of draft ordinance language.
So I apologize, you do not have ordinance language for this evening. I did reach out to Attorney Edie on a draft, and I don't have one yet, but still think it's good to have on the agenda so we can continue discussion, and it will be added back for the 6th, but I don't have language to share this evening.
The HR committee made a decision.
HR committee chose to bring it back next month, once we would hopefully hear if we received the grant. They wanted to see if we had got information about award of the grant. And we are hoping, I know that Chief has reached out to the congressional offices and asked about the grant award. And we're hoping by the end of this month that we would hear.
And these are all good reasons to wait.
Has anybody been awarded anything at all yet? Nothing,
Not as of 4 or 5 hours.
which is
ago.
unusual because usually they come in waves. Isn't that correct?
Correct. I did hear back from Tom Tiffany's office today as well. And they basically said the same thing that Senator Ron Johnson's office said, that they will be distributed by the end of September, but obviously the days are starting to run slim, so we'll see, but that's the information I was given from both of those offices.
Okay,
So the village is still continuing to budget as if we were to hire at least 3 people. But if we were to get the Safer grant, then Safer would proceed at hiring now. So, they said, did they mention if the funds would just disappear for the year?
It sound from the letter the letter I got today from Tiffany's office was from FEMA.
Okay,
And it said that they will be distributing the money.
okay.
So
There was from the League of Cities, City League, there was talk that if the money actually didn't get allocated by the end of the month, that money would kind of lapse because the federal year would be ending. But
that
as
was-
Chief stated, he's confident that we should be getting some.
that same
notification.
comment was also on the International Association of Fire Chiefs had that same article on their website. And that's when I reached out to the elected officials and they both assured me that the funds would come out, so. But yeah, they have a lot to do in the next 10 days or so here.
Could you read the motion, please?
I don't think there was a motion on
I
this.
thought you made a motion.
No,
No,
there was no motion on this.
so I'll move to hold until next meeting? No, after HR meeting.
Mm.
Well, I don't think we even, do we need to make a motion on it tonight?
No, if we do get draft language in time for the 6th, for the next budget workshop, I will bring the draft language so we can review, but board would meet right after finance and HR, so it'll go back to finance and HR also. But if I would get draft language ahead of time, I will bring it back to the board.
You send us ahead of a time? Could you send this to us ahead of a time?
Yes, well, I would send it with the Wednesday before.
Okay.
So it's a fire fee, as you can see, we do have a balanced budget, but what we would be looking at if the board chose to move forward with the fire fee would be funding that applied fund balance, that $150,000, we could make that get lesser. Because I think last time we talked, I was recommending 240,000, which would be the fire fee. 120 to plug the hole for the levy reduction that we would need to take. And the other 120 would be to fund the fire department. So that's where we're at. We do not have to fund the full fire service with that fire fee. Obviously, we're waiting for confirmation from the attorney on that, but we do not want to fund the full fire service with the fee. State statute allows that, but that is not the direction that the village board, that's what I got from the village board, they don't want to do that. So that's where we're at right now. Once we get official approval, I can rerun the numbers with all the properties in the village. But if the village board decides they don't want to do it this year, we can move forward. Obviously, we gotta wait for final numbers. We don't have any, but I'm pretty confident and happy with the way the budget's looking and hoping any changes, we can kind of move some more things around and make it balance. That was the direction that we received from the village board, and so we're still trying to continue to make the budget balanced without having to decide referendum or fire fee for 2026.
With 150,000 of fund balance.
Yeah.
Yep. So again, this is why we have these special meetings, right? So we can take in the information and process it, but wanting to make sure that there's also that comfort level with that.
Absolutely.
In the packet, there is not detail, but there is a department detail, I'll call that. If you want to look at the significant changes within the departments, that's all in there. If you have any specific questions, don't be afraid to reach out. The meeting before, or 2 meetings before, we had all the detail of all the departments in that packet. Obviously, it's changed a little bit. It's still a work in progress, but next time when we come back, we'll have that same sheet and we'll be able to tell you what we're changing. This is kind of a good point. The wages are set obviously the big thing yet is health insurance, but moving forward, when we bring that back, we can tell you what we're changing. And if you have any specific questions, we can address them too.
All right. Okay, so was that remarks from staff? Is there anything further before we go into closed session?
Nope.
Okay, real quick, if the board would, I'm gonna run through everything else before we go into closed session. If that's all right. So that'd be pretty good. Remarks from trustees. Mark, do you have anything? Still online.
I do not, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Louis? We have two marks now. This isn't gonna work. All right, Mr. Kern, do you have anything you'd like to add? No, all right. Husheng?
No, thank
No,
you.
all right. I have nothing. Topics for future meetings, discussion of 2026 budget timeline. October 6th, utilities and debt service, and then October 20th, circle back to previously undecided items and finalization. It's my understanding that is that the night we have to approve.
No, you will have your budget hearing in November. On the 20th, though, we would be looking to wrap things up so we can do our notice.
Okay.
Our meeting in November, the 3rd.
That's what I meant. It had
Yeah,
to be,
that will be
it
the
has to be
budget
wrapped
hearing.
up.
That will, yeah.
Okay. And then future meetings, so same thing, Monday, October 6th, 2025, immediately following clips, and then Monday, October 20th, 2025, at 6 p.m. Nobody has anything else, I'll motion to move into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85, parent 1, parent C, to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, to wit, the process for the administrator's annual evaluation.
Second.
I need a motion first. Oh, sorry, I read the language, my bad.
Well, you can make a motion.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
All right, so we have a motion by Cronin, seconded by Zagami. Roll call vote, please.
Cronin,
Aye.
Kern. Lopes Sorrell,
Aye.
Mark, Maloney,
Yes,
Oh, yeah, he can motion. Okay.
Nami,
Aye. Mark has to get up.
Yeah.
yes, I will. I will be getting off. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Have a
Mark.
good night.
Thanks, Mark.
Great job, everybody.
All right, are we paused?
One moment.
Oh, Pam. Here, can you give this to her?
I have the recording started again for just to.
Okay, so possible action on closed session items, process for the administrator's annual evaluation. We have no action, correct? Correct. All right. Hearing nothing further, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Lopes Sorrell, seconded by Zagami. On the question, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. We are adjourned at 7:18 p.m.